Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Franklin from the Money Code Academy. On today's video, I want to share with you 10 sacrifices you must make if you want to be rich. For so many years, I've seen lots of people who truly want to make money, they want to be rich, but they are not willing to put in or make sacrifices. Most of them don't even understand that there are sacrifices to be made. They just want to be in a certain beach where they are drinking some expensive drink and money is just flowing into their account. You know, that's the kind of life many people want to live, but they are not willing to put in the work. Now, hear me, that kind of life can be a possibility after you have put in the work from the very initials. You get the point now? So on today's video, I'm here to share with you some of the sacrifices that you will have to make. You will have to make these sacrifices if you truly want to walk in the corridors of riches. Now, if this is your first time, consider subscribing, because on this channel I talk about personal finance, financial freedom. I talk about all things money, entrepreneurship, all things money. So consider subscribing so that the next time I post a new video, you will be the first to receive that video. So the first sacrifice that you will have to make is the sacrifice of time. Make no mistakes about it. Real money is not a paper. Real money, they are invisible. Real money is time. I'm going to do a video. I think I've done a video on how you can convert your time to money. I will just put that link below. Okay, so you look for that video and watch it after this video to go a long way to help you. Time, my friends, is so important. You need time to create product. You need time to package your services. You need time to be able to connect with your clients, people who are going to bring their money. You need time, brothers and sisters. You need time. So time is something that you will have to sacrifice. The next one you have to sacrifice is your sleep. You will have to sacrifice sleep at some point. Do not let anybody to deceive you on this. Sleep, if you have too much of it, is not good. Yes, I know that in the medical world, an average adult should have at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But the truth is, when you are trying to set up systems that will pay you over time, you may have to lose some sleep for some days. In most cases, it could even be for some months. However, I do not advise that you allow this to continue, but I'm just saying that at some point, you may have to sacrifice your sleep, because you need more time now to be able to plan, to be able to strategize and optimize things. So this is something that you need to understand. The next sacrifice that you will have to make is a sacrifice of family. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Family is good. Whatever money you're looking for is for your family. But at some point, family could be a little bit of a distraction. And that is a truth. That is one truth that most people are not willing to accept. But trust me, family is something that you may have to set aside for just a little while. Now, I do not advise, I am not a part of those who advise that you leave your family. It's not a good thing. But there are days when you may have to spend more time to do the work, okay, so that you can have more time to spend with your family. You get the point now in the future when you set things up. So family is something that you may have to sacrifice at some point. I know somebody will be like, how? How is it possible? Now, there are days when you may have to stay longer in the office. And there are days when you may have to work during the weekends. And those weekends was supposed to be meant for your family. So in days like these, you will have to make sacrifices, okay, in the area of your family. Now, the next sacrifice you have to make here is your social life. Make no mistakes about it. There is a time when you will not have a social life, because all your focus, everything is on trying to build, that system that will help to generate income in the days to come. Social life is good. It is wonderful. It is lovely. But at the beginning of your walk, of your financial journey, you may have to sacrifice some of these things, which In most cases, some people are already sacrificing it already, so it's not like a big deal. However, just know that your social life will be on the line. Okay, the next sacrifice that you need to make is the sacrifice of money. Trust me, you will have to sacrifice money, either to build a website or whatever it is. You will have to make some sacrifice when it comes to money. There are people today who want to start a business, but they don't want to start with money. But the truth of the matter is that you actually need money. Not so much per se, but you actually need money if you truly want to walk in the corridors of riches. You will make sacrifices in this direction. Now, the next sacrifice that you're going to make is the sacrifice of pleasure. You will have to sacrifice pleasure so that you don't face pressure in the future. Most of the time, people mix pleasure with business, and so the business does not work. People mix pleasure with their finances, so at the end of the day, they don't get any results and they wonder. And the reason is because they don't know when to set aside pleasure so that they can focus on their finances. You must come to that point where you're able to set aside pleasure and focus on your what? On your finances. This is very, very, very important. So pleasure is one thing you will have to sacrifice. Okay. Now the next thing that you will have to sacrifice is your health. Yes, you heard me right. Your health at some point will come on the line. I remember some years ago when I was trying to put together my course on Crack the Money Code, how to crack the money code for good. I began to have sleepless nights because I needed to work at night, and during the day my kids don't allow me to work, so I had to do this. And while that continued, this issue of not sleeping began to build, and when it began to build, it came to a point where my blood pressure began to rise. So I had to pedal low on that just to be able to regain my health back. So at some point, your health will be on the line. It cannot be avoided. It cannot be avoided, I'm telling you. But it can be managed. You have to bring a balance. You have to strike a balance when it comes to this. Because remember, the greatest wealth anybody can have is their health. Okay, so that's something you need to understand. Now, the next thing that you will have to sacrifice is screen time. Watching too much TV will make you poor. This is one truth many people are not willing to accept, but I'm telling you, too much TV, hear me, is a complete waste of your time. You need to come to that point when you have to set TV aside, set screen time aside, just to be able to achieve a certain goal. It's very important. You get the point now. So you spend more time, trying to fix things in your finances, not spending all the time on watching TV. You have to sacrifice this. I remember listening to the success story of a couple, how they went from paycheck to paycheck to setting up their online business. One of the things that the guy said that caught my attention, he said that prior to this time, when he comes back from work, he feels this is my time to relax. So he just switch on the TV, and then he will watch TV till middle of the night, and then he will sleep, and the next day he goes to work. So what he did was that while he was still working, he began to stop that very habit. So when he comes back from work, instead of going to the TV as usual, he goes into creating an online course, which ended up bringing them so much money. So screen time is a sacrifice that you will have to make at some point. You get the point now? So now the next thing that you will have to sacrifice is your ego, or rather you can say ego. Whatever be the case, I'm talking about EGO. There are certain contracts that is supposed to come to you, and just because of ego, you just blow things up. It shouldn't be that way. There are times when you have to humble yourself. Yeah, you heard me right. You may have to humble yourself, because in most cases, the person that may give you a contract may just be somebody whom you never expected. And in this case, you will have to humble yourself. So ego is something that you will have to sacrifice. It's so important. There are some nonsense that you will have to take. Set your ego aside. Take those nonsense so you can move up the ladder. That's how it goes. Now, the next sacrifice that you will need to make is a sacrifice of fear. The fear of starting a business, the fear of leaving your 9-to-5 job, the fear of this and that. A lot of times people have that fear. There are people today who are not able to start a new business because somehow they are thinking, if I leave my job, how do I survive until I start making money with the business? If I leave my job now, how do I get that medical insurance that was given to me? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I? So that builds a lot of fear in them, and it makes them unable to take any steps. They are not able to make or take any risk, which is not good. For you, you will have to sacrifice fear. Put it aside. Cultivate boldness and courage and take that risk. Yes, you will have to take some risk. Constructive risk, okay? Not a risk that will put people's lives in danger. So understand this. So you will have to sacrifice what? Fear. Another thing that you will have to sacrifice is impatience. There are people today who are so impatient, and as long as you are impatient, you will never be rich. Let me give you an example. Maybe you started a business and in 3 months you want the business to start succeeding. But guess what? New businesses takes time. It takes time. If you are those who quit because you were impatient, then you will never be rich. So impatience is something you have to sacrifice for your own good. You get the point now? For your own good. And the next thing you will have to sacrifice is that you will have to unlearn so you can relearn. There are a lot of wrong financial education that we have received in our growing up days. Go to school, get a good certificate so you can get a good job. And there are many people who have followed this and they have ended up in a very terrible situation because they didn't get a good job. They got a certificate quite all right, but they didn't get a good job. You know, it used to be a good financial education, but in our today's world, it is no longer valid. So you will have to unlearn some of those things you've learned so you can relearn. But the challenge is that many are not willing to unlearn. And because they're not willing to unlearn, they are not ready to relearn. So you will have to make this sacrifice. It's so important. And then the next sacrifice that you need to make is your emotions. Yes, you heard me right. There are people with toxic emotions. They get discouraged at the drop of hat. They get very, very sad when things are not working out. If you are like this, you may never be rich. You get the point now? When it comes to riches, there are things that will bear on your emotions. But you have to be able to go past this and make things happen. And finally, and this is the big one, you may have to sacrifice your career. You heard me right. Years ago, I made this very sacrifice. You may have to make this sacrifice. You know, there are people today who have grown, they've spent time to do a certain course, okay, and they wanted to be in a certain career path. Now they have been in this career path, but you know that there are certain careers that cannot make you rich. So just because they've developed sentimental attachment to that career path, they are not willing to let go. They are not willing to try something new. So in the process, they can't get rich. But if you want to make a difference, then you must consider sacrificing your career. It will hurt you. It will make you feel very bad. People will laugh at you. You could become a laughing stock. But just be sure you know what you're doing. And I'm telling you, at the end of it all, it will be worth the sacrifice. So that'll be all for this video. I am sure that you've gotten value from it. And I just want you to put in the comment box, okay? Let me know your biggest takeaway. Smash the like button And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. And guess what? I have a big gift for you, a free gift. It's a mini course on the power of financial education. What financial education will do in your life. I will just put the link below and go check it out. Register for that course. You can finish it in less than a day. So register for that course and take that course. It will go a long way to help you. So that'll be all for now. I'll speak to you again. Until then, keep cracking the money code.